Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for subscribing to this webinar. And I should say that with this new norm, it's also good that normally during this track, which is between 11 to 12, so I'm actually the speaker that is between you and your lunch. So if it's an actual webinar, this will be the time when people is all very excited of what buffet they will be getting. But with now the new normal, I guess you will be probably at working from home, which your lunch is already ready right now, waiting for you right after my webinar as well. Okay, so without further ado, I have to introduce myself. I'm Raymond Wat, the representative of IPAP, which stands for International Power Access Federation for the Asia region. And today we're going to talk about, do stakeholders who manage or supervise mobile elevating work platform need to be competent? So before we start, can we have Jessica to post out the poll for everyone to just a short 3 questions so that I could understand the audience here today. But of course, along the way, we will have some little engagement. I need you to type a yes or no on the chat to at least, I know that I'm not speaking to a screen, but the live people out there who are definitely looking forward to share more on this topic. So we're going to leave like a minute or so. Okay, so the first 3 questions. The first one is yes, 75% of our audience here manage the use of a mobile elevating work platform in your workplace. Excellent. The next one will be so are you aware of the approved code of practice, which is the SS616? Sorry that this is posted more to the audience from Singapore. My apologies for those who are not. But of course, you have to also to be aware that there are other standards like American standard, British standards, which actually require the same as well. %60% of the audience here from Singapore are aware that there's a ACOP. Can we have the third poll, please?
Oh, no people speaking.
Okay, so 70% of the audience here from Singapore are aware that there are requirements for the stakeholders who supervise or manage the use of MEWP to be completed. All right, thank you so much for your poll. Appreciate it. So, yeah, just to have a little start on your chat area, are you ready to move on? If you are ready, please type ready, this word R-E-A-D-Y, and let me know that all of us is ready to move on. Thank you so much, YP Law. Appreciate it. Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. And Mr. Leong, all right. So we are all okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Hong, Amanda. Thank you. All right, appreciate. So now we are ready to move on to this topic. Do stakeholders who manage this or supervise MEWP need to be competent? All right. There are standards that say yes. Of course, I would say that there are 3 standards here, which I'm aware of. The American standards and the British standards over here, the BS, and also the SS616 which is the Singapore standard as well. Yeah, why is it crucial for someone who directly supervise the use of MEWP to be trained? So first of all, let me share with you the standards. So it's important for you and me who manage the use of mobile elevating work platform in our workplace to understand and to be trained in the way that we know what's the characteristic of a mobile elevating work platform, including the design standard of this machine. So this machine, if you are aware, there are standards that the manufacturers need to follow when they are manufacturing the machine. So in our region, I would say in Asia, so most of the machine that arrive in our region is mainly American standards. The second one will be the BSEN, the European standards, and a little bit from Australia, New Zealand standard as well. So that means there are 3 types of machine. When I say 3 types, it looks the same, which I will explain later. This machine are manufactured in 3 different types of standards, and it's actually being arrived in Singapore in terms of new machine, used machine, second-hand machine as well. So we roughly, this is just a few of the differences. So to show you the American standards, categorize it differently from the European standard. But please be aware that this year there is a new NC standard that was just been revised. So that's a new standard. But having said that, yes, this year, meaning that this year, the new machine that is manufactured under American standard have a new revised requirement. So there are some things that are similar to the European standard, but not forgetting there are already, what, 10, 20, hundreds, thousands of machines that are already in our region have the old American standard, and also we have the European standards in the market as well. So we have to be aware of the
Sorry to interrupt,
differences.
Raymond.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that you are not sharing your slides.
Oh yes, so sorry about that.
Thank you.
Oops. Thank you for phoning up. I just got too excited and forgot to share.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. All right. Is it okay now?
Yes, it's perfect.
Jessica, is that okay now? Or JS?
Yes, it's all good. Please carry on.
Okay, great. So my apology once again. So yeah, that's the, oh, it says my internet connection is not stable. I hope it's fine now. Okay. So as I mentioned, when we park 2 machines side by side together, like this, the American standard, manufactured under American standard, manufactured under the European standard, you will see it looks the same, exactly the same. The brand, the model number, the color, of course. So, but when we take a look at the, I call it birth certificate or the specification decal on the machine, you can see that there is a slight difference in the sense that it says this is the European standard, all right, manufactured under the European standard, and this is manufactured under the American, and of course the Canada, they share the same standard of machine. But when we take a look further, for example, this tells us that on the non-wind condition, that means there's no wind in the workplace or the work area, so you can actually have 2 persons plus some light equipment. But when you have out of door, which I do not like to use outdoor, I would say wind condition, there is 1 person only allowed to be on the platform. But when we take a look at the American design standards, it's different. Back in those, before the new revised American standard, I must add on, it says that 2 persons at all time. All right. However, I have to tell you that I have told you that this year there is a new revised American standard, which is now reverting back to similar with the European standard. This small machine, like this 19-feet machine, has also classified into a non-wind and a wind condition, whereas 2% for non-wind and 1% for wind condition. So, but having said that, once again, there are already machines out in your workplace that are having this ONC standard, which allow 2% at all time, and the European standard, where the used machine coming in from Europe will have this standard. So it's going to be not easy for us to use our eyes just to see. We have to go down into the specification of the machine. Then we are able to see that, oh, so this machine actually allows to, please, you have to be aware that it does, the weight of the machine and the configuration of this machine are actually designed for one man when it's actually at a wind condition. All right, but of course, when I say wind condition, it's not, there is also a restriction. It's like 12.5 meters per second, or some is 9.8 meters per second of wind. This is 9.4 meters per second for the machine to be able to work in a wind condition. Anything more than that is not able to. So as a person who manage and supervise the use of this, we have to be aware of such kind of manufacturing standard. And also there are safe use standards. So beside the manufacturing standard, there are safe use standards as well. So in Singapore, the SS616, in Malaysia, we have a guidance over here. If you need all the guidance, please let me know. The rest are all patented by the standard bodies. I can't share with you on that. All right, of course, the American standard, the BS, the Guopiao, which is a China, at the same time, they also have the safe use standards. All right, next, let's understand the structure and parts of selection. So you and me is going to govern or going to monitor, supervise our guys going to use this. So we have to be aware that out there, there are also boom lift or scissor lift with pneumatic tires. So these are pneumatic with air tires. Of course, there are also those with form fill tires and solid tires as well. So we need to know that for form fill tires, right, it's the stability when you're up there in height is there. But of course, when you're using pneumatic, when I say pneumatic, they are actually tubeless tire. But however, there are also risks of burst when it's out there. But this is getting fewer. But I shouldn't say zero, but there are still some machines out there which are pneumatic originally. The importance of spreading the load, which I'm going to move on and to share with you why is it important. Oops. All right. Is the video playing well, I hope?
Yes, it's playing well.
Great, thank you. So this is one of the videos that I like. You can see the weight is actually dynamic. When the boom turns, the load shifts. So this is a lot of time when people are parked at the side of the slope, and when they are parked there before they start work, everything is fine. But when they start turning the turntable, shifting the machine in terms of booming it to the left or right, that's when the load shifts. That's when trouble sets in. So as a supervisor or manager like you and me, we have to be aware of such kind of characteristics of this machine, so that we are able to do a risk assessment properly and share this risk with our operators. So it's trying to show the dynamic load with a spreader plate. Everything is much more stable. Spread the load. it is also important to place the load right in the middle for this particular reason. So he's going to demonstrate. So once again, when the load shift, all right, so that means when we are doing the turntable moving, all right, that's the time when the load shift, and when the load shift, there will be higher instability, greatly dependent on the ground condition. All right, I'll move on because there are quite a fair bit on our PowerPoint today. And next, pothole protection. This is one of the crucial things that we have to be sure is there, especially when it's lifted. You can see this scissor lift is all stored position. That means it's all the way down. You don't see the pothole protection coming up. But when you lift it up, okay, you can see this pothole protection coming down. All right. So we have to understand what is the purpose of this pothole protection. All right, it's actually when you lift up, this pothole protection will comes down. It is to prevent the instability of the machine, especially when it's lifted. For this particular case, the operator actually drove over, but the pothole protection is not working, and for whatever reason, he's not aware. He drove through, and for whatever reason, he's not supposed to be out in this area, but he went. So the gap between the tires and the body of the scissor lift is big when there's no pothole protection. All right, if you do remember, this is the purpose. The purpose is to close up the gap. All right, the pothole protection close up the gap between the tire and the body of the machine, so that the machine will not have a big fall, and it will not instabilize the machine so much. All right, that's the purpose of the pothole protection, which we need to ensure, and it's also one of the checklists for the operators to ensure that it's working. So next we talk about function and ability. So most of the boom lift, or in fact all of the boom lift, scissor lift, mobile elevating work platform require you to have two functions. All right, this is the enable click function. You can see after you have clicked it, then you can move it to the front and back. This is for scissor lift. Some of the scissor lift, you have to use a left hand to click, press on, and then move the joystick. This is the boom lift type where you have a dead man switch. Your foot have to be there at all time, and then at the same time you can maneuver the machine using the joystick. So that means two action in order to activate the machine. So that is the purpose when, so that you are being hit onto something, you let go of one of your contact, the machine will stop immediately. However, it became, some of the operator felt that it's a burden or it's a hassle to them. As I mentioned, some machine, you need a left hand index finger press on this, and your right hand holding on to this joystick. Sorry, it's not a good photo, but this is the old joystick up here. So that means the left hand index finger pressing to this, and then the right hand moving this machine. So he got so tired that he decided, and he think he's smart, he decided to drill a hole through, put a bolt and nut. And so this means that this machine is engaged at all time. And now this machine can be a killer machine in the sense that if he accidentally moves this while he talks, or when he's moving his hand, or when he's crushed on top, when he's crushed by ceiling, I-beam on top, his body will move forward. When he moves forward, he's actually pressing down the joystick to front. And most of the machine, when you are pushing it down, it means racing up or ascending. So this actually is going to cause a lot of hazard to the operator if we do not understand why there are two action for such kind of operation needed. And next is understanding the firmwarization. All right, we always talk about firmwarization, and people say that, come on, I'm already trained. I have been trained. Why do I need to be firmwarized? Why do I need to be oriented? So for you and me, we are the guys that are supervising, managing this machine. We have to know out there there are brands, there are lots of brands of mobile elevating work platform out there. For example, let's talk about Directional Arrow. These are boom lift. All right, on the boom lift, normally you will see there's two arrows with different color. Blue and blue is the front for Genie, and reverse is yellow for this brand. This yellow machine, front is green, reverse is red, and this machine is, you see, and this don't have a color at all. So you see every machine have a different direction for front and back. You'll be wondering, why is there a different, why is there a need to have a front and back arrow? Because if you know boom lift, when you do a 180-degree turntable turn over to the opposite direction, so your front becomes your back becomes your front. So that's the time the operator must be aware that which direction they are at. There are operators, technician being queued because they thought front is front and back is back, but it's not. They actually have the turntable turned into 180 degree, and they have actually missed that out. Even though they have the enable button for them when they're doing the turn, this kind of disorientation happens. So same for the scissor lift chassis. You can see different brand. This is a very simple three button kind of operation. This is the scissor lift, another brand of scissor lift. You can see all these are so different. Oh, wow, this looks complicated compared to this. All right. So let's say if today I'm trained on this machine, and then the next moment I went to another site and my boss get me another machine, and this is the one that I was like, I will be standing there scratching my head and wondering what is what, and but my supervisor or manager will say, come on, you are trained, you should know. So that's why as a supervisor or a manager like us all here, please be aware that the orientation beside familiarization is definitely very much important. So please help me to type this word familiarization. So inside your chat to let me know that you understand the importance of familiarization. If you don't mind, thank you so much. So familiarization, thank you, Amanda. Familiarization is not just training, all right? It's every time when you got a new machine, new brand, new model, that is the time you need to be familiarized with, even though the operator are trained. Okay, these are the boom lift, much more sophisticated. All right, you can, if I'm trained on this, and then tomorrow I'm given with this machine. So yeah, there are many different machines out there with even the same machine have a different location of emergency lowering button. All right, and also different methods of lowering as well. Yes, I saw a question coming in. Familiarization mandated by MOM. Yes, it is inside the SS616. Next is decal. As a person who operates, as a person who manage and supervise the use, not only the operator need to understand about decal, we also need to, because when we get, for example, this is a big scissor lift. You can see the big platform. Originally, it's like that when the extension deck is not open up. So 5 person can be on the main deck with a light tooth, says 771 kg. But if I open up one of the deck, it tells me that 3 on the main deck, 2 on the extended deck, and the weightage, the safe working load is changed now, 450 to 227. So that means I cannot have all 5 person in the extended deck. And when this model comes with two sides of extended deck. So when I extend both sides, all right, so I can only have 2 at each side, all right? So you can also see the weight are all distributed as well. So we have to understand, and when we walk in and we see, hey, what does this mean? This means that there's, in the no wind condition, we can have 2 person on the deck, extended one on each deck, the weight allocation. But at the same time, we are here in a wind condition. You can see that it's strictly, the manufacturer says that this machine only allowed 1 person on the deck, all right, when there's a wind condition, and the maximum wind condition is 9.4 meters per second. All right, it shows you we have to understand the decal as well, 3 degrees of slope, all right, the side force that this machine can take, For this machine, the wind speed is 12.5 meter per second. All right, and many more. So these decals are all on the machine itself, and at the same time, this information can be found on the manufacturer operator manual, which you are supposed to have one according to the SS616 as well. And if you are the owners, if your company own any of these machines, so you have, this is one of the important things that I have to let you know, because you will be supervising them as well, I'm sure. You have to be aware that there are bulletins, just like car manufacturers, for example, Toyota. Sometimes we see from the news saying that these machines are have a big recall from the factory. So same, mobile levitating work platform have the same as well. We call it the manufacturer's bulletin or safety notice, where they will send, if any fault is being identified in a particular country that is due to manufacturing fault, they will send out notices to all the owner. And the trick is here. So how are you going to be under their network that they're going to send you the notice? So if you are the owner of this machine, please go ahead to the particular website. Normally they have for you to enter your to search for it, or if not, you can register it with them. And it's still, you can't find anything, please contact me. I'll be happy to help you connect with the manufacturers, who are mostly our members around the world. Okay, next we have, sorry I'm rushing a bit because I got a fair bit of PowerPoint, which I think I have to show all of it to you. All right, if you rent, do not touch the machine. Get the competent technician from the rental company to do it. If you own it, you have to be competent enough to know what's the specification is needed for the repairing, maintenance, and replacement of parts. The whole thing here, I have to emphasize again and again, is that everything for MEWP, they design it with a purpose. All right. For example, this is designed with using these black color batteries. All right. So the purpose of using this specific battery is because not only of the size to fit in the loose, and it is because the boom lift, scissor lift, we all know that they are working based on counterweight. So for counterweight, if you do not have enough counterweight, the whole machine will become unstable. So the manufacturer actually calculated, all right, have included the batteries as the counterweight of this machine as well. So if someone that do not know is, hey, come on man, I find a cheaper battery, but it's smaller in size, but it's fine, it still work the same ampere, voltage, blah, 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 but the person would not know that it actually reduces the weight of the machine, and this will cause great instability when the machine is at height. Pre-use inspection checklist, most of the manufacturers, not most, all of the manufacturers have it. You can download it on their website. If not, you want a generic one, please feel free to write to me, our email, and I'll be happy to send it to you. For protection. For protection, design anchor point. These are all design anchor point. Designated anchor point. But every time you will hear us saying that, hey, do not put your anchor point on the cage. All right, hook it onto the designated anchor point area. So the purpose is being enhanced welding is being done here. Enhanced welding is being done here. Just to share with you that during the old standards, all these do not actually need to, the design for the designated anchor point was not to take the load of a falling person. That was back then. But now it is, so because back then it's only to restrain, but it's a fall restraint and not a fall arrest. But now the standards require this to be a fall arrest as well, to arrest the weight of a person falling out. So these are all enhanced welding. As you can see, the thickness of the welding, and if you hook it anywhere else, there's no guarantee that you will be caught when you are falling off. All right, so that's why we need to explain to our operators that it is very important for them to do it. think everyone knows that fall protection is a must for all the boom type. Talking about boom type, this is the boom type platform. All right, it's a must because of this. This is what we call a catapult effect. But which type is it? Is it the full body harness? Yes, everyone agrees. Is it the long lanyard, the long lanyard, and the big scaffold coupler? Or is it full body harness with adjustable lanyard? You know, for the shock absorber is here, or a retractable. All right, this is a retractable lanyard. So my colleagues back in Germany have done this test. So this is just a small curve they are going through with the dummy up there. All right, this is with the long lanyard. The guy fall off, hit himself, and got suspended. This is with the this is with self retract. So you can see when the catapult effect sets in, the operator is being held restrained inside the platform. So you can see this operator being popped out again. He hit his head right underneath his platform, and now his hand is on his head. All right, he hit his head badly, and now he's suspended. So for all this, we call it a boom type platform or MEWP. It is a must to have full body harness, and it is a must to have a short lanyard so that it will restrain the guy inside the platform. He will not be hitting himself when he's fall off, and next he will not have any suspended trauma after that. After he's pop off, you still have to immediately do the rescue plan. And do you have a rescue plan? If there's only one boom lift at site, how are you going to rescue him down? Stuff like that. We will touch on rescue plan later. So yes, full body harness, short lanyard is necessary. And how about vertical lift? Vertical lift like this, and scissor lift. How about this? We call this as we group this as vertical lift. Just now was the boom type platform. So under the SS616, under BS, under ISO, under most of the standards, it says that putting a fall protection for verticals is based on risk assessment. All right, based on risk assessment. The purpose is, as you can see, because of the smaller one, or it might even bring down the machine. But for how about for the bigger scissor lift? There are constraints when the guy is being hooked on here, and when he's reversing, this is the big blind spot that he's having, and that will cause other risks as well. Okay, so please be aware that for boom type MEWP, no question asked. It's a must to put on full body harness. But for here, I know that for the verticals, it's based on risk assessment. But of course, we all understand that most of the sites in Singapore practice all MEWP have to put on full body harness. But of course, as I mentioned, you have to be aware that there are some risks as well, especially for the smaller boom and smaller MEWP like this one and this one. There are some blind spot when they are actually reversing. Okay, next we go on to hazard. Okay, the weight of the MEWP. It's always not being regarded. A lot of people do not understand how heavy this machine are. You can see how this boom lift destroy all the strong materials that's 101. Okay, training before using. No. it's not called a working at height. Operators have to take operator course. But there is no working at height training required for this. Okay, you can see all the strong materials that are there, you know, are cracked. Plywood, very thick. 1-2 inch plywood. Pop like a firecracker. Solid wood planks are also easily cracked by this. So do not underestimate the weight of mobile elevating work platform, because by itself, to be able to lift the platform so high, the body are really heavy, and we also have seen scissor lift trying to cross over a pothole, a big pothole, and actually fell. That happens many years back in Singapore. All right. We also have to be aware that if there's piping below, or there's a void area below, the weight of the mobile elevating work platform can also cause the depression. All right, I need to move on. Next is walking the road. A lot of operators, once they're up there, they are lazy to walk and check, to come down from a platform to walk and actually check, and then also tap on the floor to see whether is there any void below, any drain cover, manhole cover, stuff like that. Yeah, it's not being done as much as we wanted. So as a supervisor or manager like you and me, we should be aware that to make sure the operators to walk their road first. Make sure you can see the boom lift dropping down now. And I heard very lucky that the operator survived, and also at the same time there's no car or pedestrian crossing. So what happened was, this case, there's a pothole here, and the pothole was covered by the sand, the gravels, and the operator did not do a walk. The guy that supervised it did not as well. They did not find out that there's actually a void below this, which is a pothole cover, which is covered by the sand or gravel that caused this accident. This machine are really heavy. You can see this boom lift went down the slope, not by driving, by pulling of the weight. It slid down on the slope because of the weight. And next, we need to be aware of the situation as well, especially boom lift. A lot of people, just operators especially, only cordon off the area of the machine, the area of the machine, but they've forgotten that the boom lift actually raised, and then you have arms and elbows protruding out of the base of the machine. Next, as stakeholders who manage and supervise this machine, we also have to understand the characteristic of all types of mobile elevating work platform. Sorry. So this is the narrow track machine, and you can see what characteristic it is. These are the characteristics we need to understand, and also that's the time when we can draw out all this risk assessment and hazard to inform our users. All right, that this track machine, you cannot just come down like that, like a view type, right? Just actually pop the guy up. And in country like Singapore, there's no much typhoon. Doesn't have any typhoon or what. People will say that wind is not an issue, but we have lots of building. So when we have building, there's funnering, and funnering comes higher than what, 9.8 or 12.5 meters per second, and that's the time it will jeopardize the stability of the MEWP. And please be sure to use this anemometer. It's very, very cheap now. The last time when I bought, when I'm still with the rental company, it cost me like more than 200, 300, but now it's like what, 60, $40, you can get this. Unauthorized modification queues. Yeah, this is one of the things that is on top of our mind, which is keeping us very, very worried about users, supervisors, managers, operators, trying to prevent one accident, but at the same time, is putting up modification that may lead to another. Let me explain to you why. As you can see, a lot of us are very worried about drop items from the platform. It might fall to the guy right below. So I have people asking me, why are the machine designed with such a big gap? Why are they designed in such a big gap? Right? There are reasons why, because of the wind. All right, big gap is for the wind to fall through so that it will not bring down the machine at the same time. All right, these are some of the machines. Just look at the big machine is being just go through like that because they are all tying with the, this is a shooting scene where they use this. So when you put anything, it becomes a sail. You know, when they are sailing, there's a sail. So this sail capture the wind, of course, it will bring down the machine. So same for this, these are really, really very scary in a sense that it's just sitting there for accident to happen. All right. There are solutions out there by the manufacturers. These are the manufacturer's solutions, which are under the standards. So you do not need to risk yourself putting up this and being sued for modification. You just use what is being given by the manufacturers, request it from the rental company, and that will keep you safe. All right, so this machine will not be considered as modified. All right, it's using the accessories from the manufacturers. Overhead hazard. This is actually one of the, this may be a little bit disturbing. If you doesn't want to see, please close your eyes or turn away for a while. I'm showing this is because this really happened, okay? Operator crash on scissor lift, boom lift. The previous was the boom lift, this is scissor lift. And you can see none of the guy around here knows what to do. There are a number of things. The emergency lowering of the scissor lift might be at the other side. You see he's parking against the wall. So that means the emergency lowering might be at that side of the wall and none of their friends up there can do it. That might be one of the cases. Another case, that means maybe none of them are trained to do this emergency lowering. Yeah, so that's why next I'm going to touch on is the emergency lowering plan, but now let's talk on entrapment first. So these are the entrapment lift, as the risk of entrapment, as mentioned. These are all the things that we have found from our association. We have an accident report. Go onto our website. We collect accidents from all over the world, and then that's how we come up with findings on what are the risks of entrapment for this case. Yeah, so these are all things that we are trying to advocate out to the industry. I hope with your help we can get more information out there to the users as well. And please email me if you need this copy of guidance. So this is the best practice guidance for avoid trapping and crushing. All right, I'll be happy to pass this copy to you. There are solutions out there by the manufacturers already. All right, they have this physical structure that to prevent the operator from crushing. They have the electric one. This is a push bar pressure sensor. This line, if you are crushed from behind to forward, this line will be activated, drop off, and when this line drop off, the machine will stop. This is for the scissor lift. when it come in contact. So there are already solutions out there by the manufacturers. This is something interesting that was introduced, I think, maybe 2-3 years already. So this is using sensor. I need to forward a bit because I'm behind time. So when it's left, this is 5 feet, the first bit will come in, and then the scissor lift will be slowed down, and then the second, and it reach to certain 3 feet. And if you still need to go nearer, you can now override it. That means by overriding it, you are aware that you are very, very close to that overhead structure. All right, next, management. So every one of us here are supervisor management. Are we? Can you say yes if you are a supervisor? Just type on yes on the chat. And at the same time, I'm so know that you are still there. Thank you, Ms. Choi. Okay, still here. All right, thank you. Big red. Oh. John. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, if you are the supervisor, how much do I know? How much do you need to know, or do I need to know? So these are so many things that we need to know: emergency planning, tasks, hazard, formalization, basically characteristic, and of course the risk assessment. The risk, you have to understand the characteristic of this machine, then we can come up with a good risk assessment. And of course, after that, we can come up with the rescue plan as well. So if we are not aware of all these characteristic maintenance and the right type of fall protection, don't be shocked. These are really half, I do not know why half, but it's restraint harness. It's not a full, it's a half body harness being used a lot in China, which we are trying very hard to advocate the full body harness. If we select the wrong type of MEWP for our colleagues, they will risk themselves to go up to complete the work. We are putting them at risk. And at the same time, if we do not understand the characteristic of this machine, as I say, all the things that are designed in the machine has its purpose. So do not put ourselves at risk to modify or to be put under the brand of modification. Take a look at this scissor lift. The wind condition, when the huge wind come over, this is definitely going to topple. You put up the netting. I know we all have a good intention in order to prevent tools from falling down and then causing other hazard. But we have to be aware that by putting up all this, first of all, is it tested or approved by the manufacturer? If not, it's considered modification. And for this, they put on the 4 posts to prevent overhead crushing. Yes, definitely wonderful idea. But at the same time, we have to once again go back to this question of what is why didn't the manufacturer recommend this? So because it's easy, it's cheap, it can be done. So 4 posts on the corner. Just let's say if this scenario, the lift raised up and hit onto the I-beam, and when it hit onto the I-beam, what happens? The pressure came down to the, and where does the pressures end? It end all the way at the platform. So when the accident happened of overhead hazard, so the pole got struck and the energy passed down, the pressure, the force passed down, and the scissor lift corners, the scissor lift platform corner are not enforced well, are not being enforced with welding for this purpose, because the manufacturers do not know that at the 4 corners there will be such a load coming down. So that means these machines are not designed for that purpose. So if that happens, the load comes down, and due to some long usage of this machine, there are some corrosion at the corners and all that is going to cause even more hazard to the operators. So once again, I would strongly recommend to get the solution from the manufacturers which are already available. So are we ready when things happen? Sorry, times are running too fast and we left about 8 minutes. We may not have time for the Q&A, but definitely send it to me, I will answer it. And okay, this is the when things happen, are we prepared? Are we ready? So this guy is, so very fast is being lowered down. That means what they actually had planned. To be honest, no one knows when our friend up there is going to fall. So he will not say, hey, tomorrow at 9 o'clock I will fall, you come and save me. No one knows, right? So that means this company would have already trained a guy at the bottom to perform the rescue plan or the procedure. And this guy would have been there every day with their SOP to know that when someone is up there, he has to be there at all time. So you can see how fast this rescue was being done. All right, and good for this gentleman, he's being saved. So rescue plan, emergency rescue plan, we have the guidance. Please, once again, if you need it, email to me. I'll be happy to forward a copy to you. And now back to the supervisor manager responsibility. So once again, there are so many out there. And how do we get to know this? So our association together with the industry, because the industry told us that we need such courses, not for the operator. Operator is already done. Okay, now it's for the people who supervise and also manage the use of mobile elevating work platform. What do they need to know? How are they going to be to know it? So we come up with this course called MEWP for managers. People who manage, not that kind of office manager, but people who manage MEWPs or supervisors. These courses are available in both classroom or e-learning. Okay, so you can do e-learning at your own pace and eventually you'll receive a certificate. So this is the e-learning version on a video. I must personally say that I liked it quite a lot. The graphic is wonderful and the content, the questions. I'm not sure because I think during the circuit breaker time we have let it out for free. I believe a number of you have took it. How many of you have took this course already? Please say, and if you think it's really good, can you just say yes, thank you, on the chat. All right, thank you so much, Big Red. Thank you so much. Zhu Hui. Thank you so much, Jing Hong. Left 5 minutes. I guess that would be for Q&A. If you agree with me, the graphic is really good. Talking about the hazard, the wind hazard, and assessment is very interactive. Then they still have an assessment at the end. You already have 3 questions answered for you. All right. For people who manage the use of mobile elevating work platform, strongly recommend you to do it. And yes, we are not for profit. If you need a free webinar, please write to us. Happy to do it. And I think I still have one more. Yeah. So we have spoken to one of our training center who is willing to offer 50% to the audience of this webinar. So if you're interested, if you think that it is you want to be a competent, certified competent, so-called supervisor or manager who manage MEWP, write to me. I will send it over to the training center, to our training center, and they promise to give a 50% discount for the audience today. So just do write to me. Thank you so much. And yes, I'm done with the screen. Stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Raymond, for sharing a very insightful presentation with us. So ladies and gentlemen, do we have any more questions for Raymond pertaining to his presentation? If yes, you may now quickly post them into the Q&A box.
Can I just start to answer whatever now on the first one?
Yes, you can do so quickly.
Okay, yeah, because we left like a few minutes. Okay, for big rate, do MOM insist for work and height? I think we mentioned that already. To my knowledge, no, work and height training for MEWP is not mandate. But of course, once again, it depends site to site preference. This harness attachment area, I start to take the shot of loading of a person. Okay, you're mentioning the designated point. As I said, the old manufacturing standards is not, but the new one are. So that, but once again, as I said, there are already machines out there, so you will not be able to know which one are and which one is not. That's why we strongly recommend everyone to practice fall restraint in the MEWP and not the fall arrest. Then that will definitely keep you safe. Mr. Muhammad Kasim, if the manager not trained to manage the use, MEWP can be stopped. Not trained to manage the. If the manager not trained to manage the use of MEWP, can we stop the work? I guess if you're talking about SS616, definitely it is a requirement that the operator, but whether to stop the work or not, I guess it's the call of the safety department. So next, Gary to Raymond, can drone help to reduce some of these accidents? I think definitely, but drones only help on inspection job. There are, when I was in the industry, in the rental company, I remember sending lots of machines to inspect the flyover around Singapore. Back in those days when there was some earthquake in Indonesia and the wave came over to Singapore and everyone is questioning. So during that 2 years, there are a lot of inspection of the flyover, and I'm sure these drones will definitely help on the inspection, but it will not replace the need to go out for hands-on installation, stuff like that. That's what I think. And what if the MEWP collapse together with a person? Okay, I'm not sure what which direction are you coming at. Yes, there are cases that MEWP collapse together with a person, and yeah, it happens in a number of accidents around this region. Even in Singapore, there are the past cases. If you look at the council bulletin, there are cases where the MEWP, but most of the time when this collapse is close to fatal.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that will be all for today's sessions. If you have any further questions or want to discuss any of it in more detail, please do not hesitate to reach out to the organizer. And we hope you have enjoyed the session brought to you by the International Powered Access Federation. The next webinar session is at 2 o'clock. Hear from all women in construction Singapore about Build It, how women can forge the development of the built environment. At the same time, you may spend some time visiting the exhibition hall where 100 virtual booths are on exhibits. Thank you once again for joining us and stay safe.